Hey everyone, this is Sid, and I want to start showcasing a few of my wars concerning just getting back into Masters, and something you might just see is that my Luke Cage is ascended. Now, I decided to make this decision not based on my own merit, but because based on the tactic for this season, he's able to essentially ramp up even faster, and this might be a hot take, but he might be able to ramp up faster than Hulk, depending on the matchup specifically. Hulk really excels when it comes to like those long form fights, like bosses, mini bosses and whatnot, but concerning path fights, Luke Cage does a great job even non-tactic defenders. Now with the tactic, what it does is it just places a debuff on a defender whenever I would gain a placebo buff, and then with that entail, I gain an around 2k attack for every debuff, and you'll see that interaction here with Dragon Man. Something that I like to do when it comes to just getting my mind into the correct zone for a fight, even if it's a path fight, is just pause a little bit into the fight, and then after that I'll be able to settle down and then get used to my strategy. But sometimes that always doesn't work. Sometimes I have to sort of adapt my strategy, and you'll see that a little bit more in the mini bosses. Now with this Dragon Man, something that I really overlooked is the power of Luke Cage's Sig ability concerning his indestructible, so I can play as aggressive as I need to, with at the same time being as safe as I need to. So usually for all my Luke Cage fights, you'll see me go for an SP3 towards the end, just finish off. Outside of that, I don't really need the SP2, because all that does is place a concussion, which is great and all, but I like to focus on the damage ramp up through the SP3, along with the power gain reversal from Luke Cage's exhaustions. Now, this next fight is interesting. It's a Ebb and Flow Intercept with Sadist. So Spidey 29, not Spidey. Spidey Supreme is going to be gaining a ton of attack, but I'm going to be running a maxed out relic in this fight, and that gives Luke even more block proficiency. And even though Luke Cage is going to be suffering 60% attack reduction concerning this Spidey Supreme, it's not going to matter. Out of a pool of, let's say, 100% of the champions in the game, regardless of the number, Spidey Supreme sits in the 9th percentile. 91% of the other champs in the game have a higher health pool than him. So regardless of the Ebb and Flow Intercept through protection, it's not going to matter. I'm going to actually destroy the Spidey Supreme, and with it, it's going to be under a minute. And again, you'll see me go to the SP3 just to finish it off. But I miscalculated. This is not going to kill him. Luckily, I did not push him over to an SP3. But even if that were the case, even if I were to get rooted, I would just let the indestructible do its work. And even then, still you see, he hasn't hit that hard because Luke Cage, his health pool is absolutely amazing, and he absolutely destroys Spidey because of his low health pool, like I said earlier. Now this fight, I was worried. I was just, wait a minute, this is an ascended rank 5 Rintrah, but this goes amazingly well. With this fight, it's all about just getting those light intercepts in, and then with that, being able to stack up your debuffs with the tactic, and then lastly, just knocking him down. This Rintrah played very well. I totally dex that, but you know how MCOC is. You just have to go with whatever you're dealt, and you'll see more of that later on. That's some epic foreshadowing that I do not want to hint at. You'll see that last hit, your 45k. Usually, Luke Cage does not crit this much, but I will take it. I will take it. Now, we're about like 30 seconds into the fight, and I was really surprised at how well Luke was doing, specifically concerning the protection, the resistance Rintrah gets, because while I love Luke Cage for this meta, he doesn't really have any new or updated utility to really help him out in non-tactic matchups. That's why he needs that little extra something with the tactic, but that's okay with me. He gets all that he needs, and with that, he's able to absolutely crush this fight. The last 10%, I got a little impatient, I'll admit, because I just wanted the fight to end, but you know how tanky Rintrah is. I think this one has a 400k health, just because of the Ascension, and it's not that high now because it is a path fight. I ended up getting clipped here because I missed my Intercept, but that's fine. With the Indestructible, I'm able to absolutely tank those his Feats combo, and then from this point, the fight is basically over. My mind, I'll be honest, was on the next fight because it is a never back down Ebony Maw with aggression prowess. So I knew I was going to be in for a very long fight because it is a rank 2. But luckily, with the tactic, the degen that I do get from Ebony Maw, since he is going to be nullifying my decks, it's not about like if it's going to happen, it's just when it's going to happen. But with the tactic, I can essentially just go ahead, hit into him, and if I get the degen applied, I have the degen resistance with the attacker tactic. You'll see that degen come into play later, but I'll wait for that moment. Now, I guess now is a good time to really talk about Luke Cage's interaction specifically with the Captain America relic. Now, he gains a certain amount of attack through burst damage from the relic. Those are the red numbers you're seeing, okay? That's from the relic itself. Now, concerning that, with the relic, you gain attack rating matched with the attack rating on the base of Luke Cage, which comes from the tactic, which makes him absolutely insane. Now, you'll see me get clipped a couple times in this fight, but it's not a big deal. I'm literally rocking 100k health with this fight. And concerning Ebony Maw's abilities, he doesn't really have much outside of the degen and mist I need to account for. And I'm really confident in dexing his SP2, because ever since the 7-star was released, I've been able to just get in some practice through Battlegrounds and dexing that SP2. So the main problem with this fight that I've encountered, because it's my first time taking it, is literally just a block. 5k, 6k into block. If I wasn't using Luke Cage, this would be awful. This would be totally awful. But we're managing to get through it, and that's the most important thing. Now, I'm gonna keep triggering his unstoppable. It's never gonna end. Mostly because Ebony Maw places the Fury buffs on me. It's not gonna feed MD because Luke Cage reverses MD, but it's really just annoying. See, like there. I'm gonna end up dexing as well the SP2, so the unstoppable is going to pop up. It's not, like I said, it's not a matter of if it pops up, but just when. At this point, I was just, get me out of this fight. I hate this matchup. It's just it's a bad matchup, but Luke Cage can absolutely like tank through it regardless. And I really just wanted to leave. But luckily, all my other fights were easy. This Mangog is a perfect example. It's power axes too, which means he's gonna shoot up to his SP2 faster. And honestly, there's scared stiff where like if I don't hit into him, he's gonna root me. But it's not gonna matter, because you'll see. Luke Cage is so tanky, and he reverses the SP. What is it? He reverses the power gain that Mangog passively gets, so he's never gonna get 2 bars power. Like, he'll maybe get 1, but that's only because I allow Mangog to get 1. And so, elaborating a little bit on Mangog's abilities, you never want to do 5-hit combos with him. You always want to do 4 hits, or 3 or 2, or even 1, just tapping him. Because if you do full 5-hit combos, you're gonna ramp him exponentially. And now if I just keep doing lights, I'm going to apply an exhaustion on every hit. Every exhaustion also applies a wither. And both of those debuffs, the wither and the exhaustion, reverses the power gain. By a certain potency, of course. Now, this fight, absolutely amazing. Rank 2 Mangog, flushed down the toilet. It's just absolutely beautiful. Oh, great. Now this next fight. This next fight is the bane of my existence. I ended up giving up a death here. Now hear me out. It wasn't my fault, but you'll see what happens. I go into the fight, right? So I'm at home. I'm at my computer screen. I'm reading through the nodes. I'm like, okay, getting used to the fight, getting used to the nodes. This sassy shouldn't be too difficult. Everything's going good. All I gotta worry about is missing in action. 10k. Oh man, in the beginning, I'm feeling really good. Like nothing can go wrong. I'm boosted up big. I'm dexing the specials. I'm also punishing the missing in action node by heavying and knocking him down. There, I abuse the miss that he gets by being extra aggressive. But I throw my SP3. And I crash. I pulled down my menu to see, okay, I still have full bars. What is happening? This ended up being such an expensive war for two reasons. One, Ebony Maw and Aggression Prowess. Two, Sassy absolutely demolishing me with my connection. And from that, I basically just had to like spend these potions that I wanted to use for emergency purposes, but I guess you can say it's an emergency. I ended up, like I said, giving up a death, and I let it get to me during the second time going in because I was so frustrated. It's not something I can control. My connection was fine. It was just I lost connection to the Kabam servers itself. And so that's really frustrating. But regardless, this ends up being literally a wash. Because there's no reason why I shouldn't have been able to solo this outside of Kabam and their servers disconnecting me. Because I had full bars. And it was just ridiculous. And I just wanted this fight to be over. And now here, I let my frustration get the best of me, I will admit. But I had the indestructible from Luke Cage's Sig ability to fall back on. And so after he throws his SP3, I'm just gonna be like, okay, I need to get this back together, just finish my war, and then call it a day. And then from here, it's really just launching the relic, hitting into him, and then the war is essentially over. I was hoping I wouldn't get lagged out here or disconnected, but I was beyond frustrated. But regardless, that is the end of my war. And unfortunately, this war is going to be a loss. Now, it is the first war of the season. We did get absolutely thrashed, but it is my first time going back to Masters. As long as I handle my fights and I'm willing to just listen to my officers, be able to adjust to the fly based upon the fights that I need to take, as long as I'm able to control the mistakes that I make when I enter the fight, I will be satisfied. And at the end of the day, we have a whole season to go through. We leave 11 more wars and ready to bounce back. Alright, that's it for me. I will see y'all in the next war.